Okay, so we're going to get started. Can you hear me okay, Daniel?
Yes, yes, very well.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay. It seems very quiet out there in Verbling land today, Daniel.
Eh?
Why is it so quiet out there? It seems like no one is around today.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yesterday, for the last 2 weeks, classes have been packed with 9 people and a lot of people watching. And today, it seems very, very quiet. Is there a
No,
holiday somewhere? Is today a holiday?
no, it's the weekend is coming.
It's Thursday. It's no weekend today.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
understand.
Maybe business morning.
Uh, well, let's do this. I'm gonna get started with or without everyone. I'm gonna skip my introduction today, and I'm gonna go right into the unit. Let me just open the presentation for you. 1 second. There we go. Okay, so on screen right now, you should be able to see our presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, I see it.
Very good. Okay, so in this unit so far, we've begun talking about ethical business issues. I sent a homework last night. Did you get a chance to take a look at it, Daniel?
Yes, it was hard.
Yeah, it was hard, but there's a reason for that. Because that was real language. That was the language that we created as a group. So it wasn't intended to teach a set of vocabulary words. It was the actual words we used in the class. So what I did was made a summary, took out the key words, and had you put them back in. And then you could check your. I put the answers there as well, I think.
Yes, yes, at the
Okay.
end of the document.
Right. So what you should do with that homework is just pay attention to how the key words create a structure. That's really all you need to do. I mean, if you're able to get the answers mostly right, great. But even if you weren't, the important thing with that homework is notice how those key connectors create an introduction, a development, and a conclusion. Because you could use the same words to structure your thoughts when you've got to talk about a theme or a picture. So that was my purpose with that homework. Anyway, I thought it was a good idea because you were all in the class, so you can remember the description that we made together. So all I did was recycle the language that we used as a class, so it's more authentic. That was my plan. So hopefully it's helpful. Did anyone else have a chance to do the homework by any chance? Did anyone else? Anna, did you get a copy of the homework that I sent you?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I have to. I am reading the text. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's up to you. You don't have to do it, of course. But if you want, I thought it was interesting because we created that text together as a class. So it's maybe a more interesting homework than the normal ones that I send. So everyone, new people as well, like João and Joe. In the previous classes, we've talked about ethical business. We talked a little bit about issues like climate change, like fairness in pay and compensation, like benefits. We've just talked about it in general, and we started to get some vocabulary through our discussion. In this class, oh wait, that's not right. Let me move forward here. Here we go. In this class, we're going to finish our work on the vocabulary. We're going to learn a second set of vocabulary words. Okay, we did a little bit yesterday because we read a text you can see on your screen. We read this yesterday. And then we did a few exercises to pick out some of the important vocabulary. Here, we created collocations. So we said comply with regulations, for example. You can see we had the verbs on the left side and the nouns on the right, and we had to fill in those blanks to create questions. So what we're going to do now is take those questions, and we're going to begin class with a 5-minute discussion about some of the issues that the questions raise. I want you to talk about the country where you live, talk about your real experience, okay? So what we're going to do is, even if you weren't here, don't worry about it. We'll help you with the answers. Even if you weren't here, let's go back to this page. As a class, we'll fill in the blanks from memory. Okay, so even if you weren't here, you'll get the right answers. Don't worry about it. Okay? And then we're going to ask these questions to each other. Look at the first sentence, class. Does anyone remember the answer to the first sentence from yesterday?
I remember.
Go for it.
Do most companies in your country always comply with the regulations, or do they sometimes bend the rules?
Regulations. There you go. So I'm putting that on screen. Yuki, I want you to pick someone in the class to ask that question too. If they don't understand, help them understand what comply with regulations means. But I want you to pick someone to start our discussion.
Maybe Ismail.
Go for it.
You can try.
So ask him, hey, Ismail, good morning. I have a question for you.
Hey, Ismail, good morning. I have a question for you. How to say?
Good morning, Yuki. Carry on.
Do you know of any companies that... sorry, the first question or the second question?
First, the one that you did, the first one.
First one, sorry. Ismail, do most companies in your country always comply with regulations, sometimes bend, or do they sometimes bend the rules?
Yuki, unfortunately, most companies in my country always try to bend the rules.
No, I don't believe it. Is it true?
Yes, I think business environment think always their earning.
They only think about their earnings.
Yes.
They only think about their earnings.
They only think about earnings.
Tell everyone where you're from, Ishmael, for people who don't know you. Where are you from?
I am from Turkey.
Ah.
And green business is
right.
a little new in my country.
Right.
There are some new businesses who are
we can call those Ishmael initiatives.
Initiatives who are trying to comply with the green management and green business regulation. Actually,
good use of vocabulary, by the way. Very good. Good way to recycle the vocabulary. So some of the new organizations or initiatives are trying to comply with green regulations, and how's it going? Is it easy for them?
Actually, John, I think that it depends a little on the income of people. If the people get more income, they try to care about environment and or ethical business.
Right.
In other ways, they only try to buy cheap products. They don't. They shouldn't care the environment or green business actually, because if you don't have money, you have to buy something to eat and to.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't have money, you have to. You're only concerned about survival.
Yes.
Right, right. I got it. So maybe other people in the class can relate to that as well in their country. So the problem in Turkey, if I understand, is that it seems to be a question of income, whether or not people can really comply with regulations or companies can really comply with regulations.
Yes,
If you're not making enough money, you've got to just get by, as we say. So Ishmael, I want you to try to recall the answer to number 2 and choose someone in the class to ask the question to continue our discussion. By the way, let me just say a quick hello to João Godinho, who just joined us right now. We're having a discussion about ethical business, and we're using some of the key vocabulary we learned yesterday to have the discussion. Okay? So I know we've got 2 Joãos. We've got João Godinho and we've got João Pedro. So I'll call one Godinho and the other Pedro, if that makes things easier. Okay? Can you both hear me, João and João? Hello, João? Can either of you hear me?
Yes.
Which João is that? That sounded like Daniel. Well, I don't hear João. Either João. By the way, Joe, can you hear me okay? Joe Hassan?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, great, great. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so we're all going to get a chance to take part in the discussion, and it would be really great if we can understand how these issues are, like what the status is of ethical business in different countries around the world. That's one of the great things we can do at Verbling, is understand each other's cultures directly, without the media, without the news, just us talking about our experiences. So Ishmael, I want you to pick someone in the class to ask the second question to. See if you can recall the key vocabulary. If you have trouble, we'll help you, okay?
Okay. Daniel, do you know any companies that donate time, services, or money to help local organizations?
What a good question.
Yes, very good question. I mean, I think the big company usually should donate time or service or money because they had to look nice and
So it's PR for them.
eh?
It's PR for the big companies.
PR.
Public relations.
Public relations. Okay.
You mean they have to look good, so they do it to
Yes.
look good.
Yes.
You're
But
talking about Spain now, right?
yes, but I could say maybe banks usually donate our money for social service or maybe to do green areas in the town
To do or to make, Daniel?
to make
To make green areas in the town, in the
Yes,
city.
yes,
Yeah.
in the city. And maybe big company who make gasoline and
Oil companies.
oil companies. Yes,
Petroleum companies.
yes. I think they try to send green companies. Maybe he
Maybe
donates lines or
Maybe they
service to.
donate. Maybe they donate.
Maybe they donate time or service or whatever.
Right. Not he, because a company cannot be a
Okay,
he.
they.
They. Very good, very good. So we got a little bit of information about Spain, a little bit of information about Turkey. It sounds like business ethics is in trouble all over the world, if I understand correctly. Let's say a quick hello to Antonio, who's just joining us right now. Welcome back, Antonio. Nice to have you. Are you there, Antonio? I don't hear you, Antonio. Maybe your microphone isn't working. If you can't get your microphone to work, then just leave and come back. Sometimes that fixes the problem, but I don't hear you, okay? So, Daniel, you're going to try to recall the answer to number 3 and ask it to a new person in the class. So choose someone. By the way, you're just talking, remember, when you're answering these questions, you're just giving your opinion. There's no right and there's no wrong answer. We really want to know what it's like for you in your country. So we know that we've talked a bit about Turkey, Spain. We're from different parts of the world. It would be great for us to know kind of about each other's culture. You can ask me as well, although I've been out of the States for a long time, but I read about it.
Okay, John.
You don't have to. I'm saying you can if you want.
I can. I want.
Okay.
I want you to answer.
What's your
ask.
question?
How can business reduce the impact they have on the environment?
Reduce the impact. I'll put it there on the screen. By the way, for those of you who were not here yesterday, we already learned this vocabulary on the slide before. I'll show you in a second. So this is a review for people who were here yesterday. Those are the answers we came up with yesterday on slide 11. Okay? If you don't know the answer, don't worry. We'll help you get the answer as a class. So your question was, how can businesses reduce the impact they have on the environment? And I have to talk about the United States, right?
Yes.
Well, here's a case in point. In 2000 and, what was it? 2011? BP created the biggest oil spill, I think, in recorded history in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yes.
Right? I think it was a Clearwater Horizon rig. And I think that was 2011. What was it, 2012? I can't remember. Now, here's the interesting thing. Listen to this. This is a true story. You can look it up. You can Google for it if you don't believe me. Something like 3/4 of businesses and something like 90% of big businesses do not pay tax in the United States.
Why?
Mi capisce?
Why, John?
Say again?
Because they create a job.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that must be it. Because they're greedy. Yeah, maybe they create jobs, but come on, are they creating enough jobs to compensate for not paying tax? The oil business is very, very profitable. The pharmaceutical business is even more profitable. As far as I know, pharma is the most profitable business on the planet at the moment, as far as I remember. So those companies don't pay tax. When I say tax, I'm talking about tax on their income. You and I, we make money, and we have to pay income tax. Everyone does. But in the United States, they get a tax break. Yes, Ishmael, I agree. The rationale is that they're creating jobs, so we don't want to punish the job creators. But the reality is, look at BP as an example. Did they have to start paying tax after they ruined the ecology of the Gulf region? Did they even get a fine? When they get fines, they're able to pay those fines in the next quarter, right? They don't get massive fines typically. They get fines which sound really big in the newspapers, but in reality, they can pay that back in about 2 or 3 months. It's like, it comes out to be a slap on the wrist. So the question, how can businesses reduce the impact they have on the environment, for me, is connected with whether or not they pay tax, whether or not if they don't have to pay penalties, then they don't have to reduce their impact.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean? Here's another example. In the United States, we like this thing called carbon trading. Has anyone heard of carbon trading before? Do you know what that is?
No.
Carbon trading is a special right to buy or sell the the amount which is not reached to the standard of reducing carbon
Dioxide.
emission.
That's right. That's it. It's the right to pollute, in other words. The right to pollute the... You can pay for the right to pollute the environment.
Wow.
It's true. I mean, this is not just in America, but in America it's really a big policy. It's something that's promoted. So here's the idea. Yuki, you tell me if I got this right. The idea is that you can pay for the right to pollute. If you pay extra, that is supposed to then make other countries or other companies pollute less. If you're going to pollute more, you have to pay for it, but then someone else is supposed to pollute less. Because if you pollute more and you pay for it, you're giving money for the potential cleanup, and you're giving money for other things which will promote clean business and clean energy. That's the rationale, I think. Do I have that right, Yuki? Is that that's the idea?
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Well, first, do I have the argument correct? I think that's the argument.
Argument is correct. Yes.
Right. So, what's your opinion?
I think it is such a measure sounds a little unnatural.
Yeah.
So
a little.
It is difficult to understand for normal people to buy the right to emission.
Right.
More oxygen and sell and buy. It is not a things, not a product. It's just I think it's a continuous strength to reduce the impact to environment. So it is not a product to sell and buy. So I think it is not much.
This is like a business solution that's trying to
like business.
Yeah, basically. So that's my answer to Daniel. If that kind of policy was not promoted, then I think businesses in the United States could really reduce their impact. But right now, issues that are being promoted, and that's where the problem is, in my opinion, at least. It's my turn to ask a question, so I'm going to go for number 4, okay? And I'm going to ask, I want to ask João if you got your microphone on. Hello, João, are you there? Hello, João, are you there? João Godinho? Hello, João? Hello? Can anyone hear João?
No.
No? Okay, so João, listen. If you can't get your microphone on, you might want to leave the class and return. Sometimes that fixes the problem, because we can't hear you right now. Okay, João? You can also write in the chat window if there's a problem, and I can try to help you, okay? By the way, Antonio, what did you want me to spell?
Well, the last word you just said when you was answering the question of Daniel. Daniel's question.
What did I say? I don't remember what the word was.
I don't, it was something related to carbon dioxide or something like that, or footprint, or.
Well, I said emissions like this. I think I said that. I don't remember. I don't remember. If you can remember the word, I'll be happy to write it.
Me too.
Okay, so I don't hear João, so let's go with Antonio. Antonio, my question for you is going to be, the answer number 4 was act responsibly. Oops. Let me spell that correctly. There we go. Okay, and the question for you is, Antonio, in your country, why should a company act responsibly and deal with any pollution that is a byproduct? Why in your country should they do it? So we're talking about our own backgrounds and our own cultures here. In your culture, in your country, what reason does a company have to act responsibly?
I suppose that in my country, like in the other countries, the companies, most of them is looking for benefits, and they only reduce the contamination, the pollution, if they are penalty or have to pay fines.
Right. So only if they're going to be punished do they care about acting responsibly.
Yes, I think yes. Only if they receive a punishment, they act responsible. But
I see. They act responsibly.
Responsibly. But I think that most of them are not very concerned about the problem.
Okay, so it has a lot to do with whether or not we or the government is going to put pressure on them. You know that expression, to put pressure on, to force them to act responsibly.
Yeah, the government is pushing, is pushing to the firms to act responsibly.
Well, there was a huge climate march in New York to get companies to start to take things seriously. 300,000 people in New York a couple of days ago, and then the following Monday there was another protest in Wall Street itself, because rightly so, everyone knows that where the problem is coming from. It's coming from Wall Street, right? Those are we're not dealing with real business anymore. We're dealing with finance. Everything is virtual. So if Wall Street can't come up with a solution, then we need to do something with Wall Street. I guess that's what they're trying, this message they're trying to send. So they are putting pressure, at least in New York, they're trying to. And where are you again? Are you in Spain, Antonio?
Yes, I'm from Spain.
Okay, very good.
I am in Spain also.
So, Antonio, look at number 5. Okay, I want you to ask Anna this question. See if you can recall the key word in number 5. If you can, I'll help you.
I need your help.
It begins with take.
Take.
Take. Do you remember now?
Sorry, but yesterday I had to leave the classroom.
No problem. Class, can you remember what the missing expression was with take? Take what?
Take. Excuse me. Take an active part in the life of the local community.
That is exactly correct. That's it. Okay, so Antonio, I'd like you to ask that question to Anna now that you know the answer.
Okay. Anna, does your company take an active part in... Sorry, I don't... does your company take an active part in the life of this local community? If so, what does it do?
Well, in my opinion, I think that the company should take part in life to avoid environment pollution. But a company that I know, for example, Cellulose in Huelva, the government prefer keeping workers in jobs instead of avoid pollution, because it's really important due to the current situation of the country.
What kind of company is that? The one you mentioned?
Cellulose company in Huelva is
what kind of company?
Is a city belong to Andalusia.
Right. But what kind of company is Cellulose? one you mentioned?
Oh yes, yes. Is produce paper for Spain.
Ah, okay. So it's a big company.
Yes, a big
Ah.
company, and it produce many problems about people's health, as well as has produced several fires.
Really?
But
They've had accidents.
yes, yes.
Oh, I see. And so the idea is it's more important to keep people employed than it is to worry about safety or pollution.
Yes.
Oh, I
Yes.
see, I see.
Yes. Nowadays, the government and there is problem because they want to close this company, but at the moment it continues open.
Oh, good. That doesn't sound like a very good situation. Let me ask the class. Class, it doesn't matter who, anyone in particular. Do you recall the missing expressions in 6 and 7? A company should blank in values. What's the blank in 6? Does anyone remember? It starts with the word stay.
Stay a strong commitment to.
Stay, not strong.
True to its principles.
True, right. Stay true to its principles. Good, I agree. And then number 7. What's the verb in
What company
7?
in your country share a strong commitment to?
Share a strong commitment. Right. Commitment to protecting the environment. There we go. Very good. Very good. So those are some very good key expressions that you should use actively in the rest of the unit. Okay? So don't forget them. I'll remind you as well. Let's work on some new vocabulary. Okay? João, is your microphone working now?
I think so.
Yeah, there we go. Now I can hear you. Very good. Very good. Although it sounds like you're in a cave. I hear a big echo. Are you in a cave right now? No?
Something like that.
Something like that.
It's a room.
Hello, 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 hello. João. I hear this big echo. João, what do you see in the picture on the screen? What is that thing?
It's a turtle.
It is a turtle. And why do you think the guy is measuring the turtle?
Because he's a turtle in extinction, and the guy is measured the turtle to make an inventory.
Yeah, maybe. Wants to make an inventory of how healthy they are, if
Yes.
they're getting smaller.
Or
Like,
money.
yeah. Money? Why money?
No. Sorry. How much turtles there are?
How many turtles there are?
How many? Yes.
Exactly. So probably some kind of inventory. Maybe that's one of the projects, green projects, that a company could sponsor. Maybe that's the reason why we're seeing this picture. Let's find out. It says, as you can see on your screen, which of these nouns from audio 23? Wait a second, we didn't listen. Sorry, I missed a page. Listen to a radio interview questioning Shamsul Aziz, a spokesperson for a leading gas and oil exploration company. And the questions are there below. We're going to read the questions after we listen once. Well, let's read the questions first so you know what to listen for. João, can you read question number 1 for us, please?
Yes. How would you describe the interviewer's style?
Okay, that's kind of a strange question, but I guess they mean, is it formal or informal? Probably they mean that. Okay, and Yuki, could you read question 2?
How does the spokesperson react to the questions?
Okay, so we have to figure out what kind of response that the person gives, because the questions could be a little tough. We'll find out in a second. And Anna, could you read question number 3 for us?
Yes. What does the company do for its staff, the environment, the local communities where it operates?
Very good. So you're going to listen for those details, okay? And Ishmael, can you read the last one for us?
Do you think the company is doing enough for the environment and local community?
Okay, so the last one is your opinion. So you're listening for the general idea, then a few details in number 3, and finally your opinion for number 4. If it's difficult for you to listen and understand everything, if you have difficulty understanding more than, let's say, 60 or 70% of what you hear, I have a solution for you. All you need to do is go to, I think it's slide number 19, and you will actually be able to read the interview at the same time as you listen. Okay? I would like you to try to do it without reading, but if you feel it's too difficult, go to slide 19 on your computer, okay? And you'll be able to get a copy of the interview as well, okay? So, listen up, everyone. I'm going to read this once, and then we'll discuss it. Give me a second to go to the right page. 1 second. I have to go to the right page. Here we go. This is kind of a long interview, okay? But keep those questions in mind. They'll be on screen. And here we go. The interviewer asks, and now on to business. We have with us in the studio Shamsul Aziz from Carno Oil and Gas Exploration, who will be telling us about their latest initiatives in social responsibility. Mr. Aziz, isn't it dishonest to pretend you're anything other than a big multinational motivated by greed with a reputation for ruining the environment and exploiting local people? Huh? What do you think? Shamsul says, no, not at all. We take corporate social responsibility very seriously because as a leading gas and oil exploration company, we know we can have a dramatic effect on people's lives. We are proud of our local business ethics. Looking after our staff isn't just something we have recently discovered, it's one of our core values. We've always had a strong commitment to our workforce and ethical approach to the environment and the communities we work in. We have a reputation for fairness. We work hard to combat discrimination and prejudice within our organization. We are constantly improving work conditions for our staff. Safety has always been at the top of our agenda. But we have schemes in place for education, health, and training. We do take care of our people. Okay, then the interviewer asks a second question. The interviewer says, leaving that aside for a minute. Oh, someone's got a very bad alarm. Yeah, just mute your microphone, whoever's got the alarm going off, please. The interviewer asks, leaving that aside for a minute, how can an oil company have any credibility when it claims to be environmentally friendly? Surely that's a deception. Your industry is probably the greatest contributor to pollution that there is. Shamsul responds, no, not at all. As regards the environment, we can't say how people should or shouldn't use oil. But what we can do, and what we have done, is to reduce our own methane and hydrocarbon emissions. And we've made good progress. We also support a range of local projects. To take one example, we provide financial support for turtle conservation in Bangladesh. We have done this for several years. And one of our guiding principles is to give back to the communities where we are carrying out our operations. So, in Canggu, for example, we have established a community project to provide skills training for unemployed youths. And in Rajasthan, oh my God, it's hard to say that, Rajasthan, we have undertaken health initiatives and other schemes to encourage sustainable livelihoods. So, although some people might see that as a form of bribery rather than generosity, I don't agree. It could be seen as corruption if all the money went to just one individual. But the support that we provide goes to health clinics, assistance to the air ambulance, and so on. Now, these are things that benefit everyone, not just the people who work directly with us. That is the interview with this guy from the gas and oil exploration company. Class, how would you describe the interviewer's style? Formal, informal, what would you say?
Sharp.
And quite rude.
Quite rude?
Sharp tongue.
Certain, you said, Daniel?
Sharp tongue.
Help.
Like a knife.
Sharp-tongued.
Yes.
Got it. Sharp-tongued. Yuki, you're saying kind of direct and rude.
It makes somewhere irritating. Might be, but somewhere keep calm. So I was surprised by his attitude to the interview.
He's got to look good, so he's not going to get shaken by a question like that. I would summarize all of that with the word confrontational. Maybe that's a good general word to describe it. A confrontational interview. The guy is not sitting back and asking simple questions. The interviewer is trying to confront the interviewee. How does a spokesperson, Mr. Aziz, react to the questions, class? How does he react?
Friendly.
Yeah, pretty friendly.
No problem. Not at all. Not at all.
Pretty calm.
Stays calm, right?
I think he's writing a piece of paper.
He probably is reading a prepared statement. That's true.
Yes.
He's a spokesperson, right?
Yes.
Explanatory.
Political
They say
correct.
they say that his company take care of their people,
Basically, and the local environment as well.
but the rest of the world, the people of the world, the mankind,
Mhm.
I think not. They don't care of them.
And João, sorry, we cut you off. What were you saying, João, too?
I say that he is political correct.
Politically correct. Politically correct.
Politically correct. Yes.
I agree. He's giving politically correct answers. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not true. Maybe all the things he says are true, right? But, you know, we have to, as we said earlier, companies evade responsibility. We've seen it time and time again. So the interviewer has to put pressure on him. Evade responsibility. The interviewer has to put pressure on him to get him to answer and to force him to be publicly accountable. I'm putting all these words in the chat window for you to see. Publicly accountable. If I put words in the chat window or in the document that we share, it's a good idea for you to use them as we have the conversation that we're having. Try to use them actively. Let me ask you, Antonio, what does the company do for its staff? Do you recall?
For staff, I remember something related to take care of their staff.
Take care of their own staff. That's true. Yeah.
With education, health, and training.
That's right. Right. They Let me see if I can find the exact point. Hold on a second
At
here.
the end of the first column.
Oh, wait. Yes, what you mean. Into the first column about safety. Oh, we have schemes in place for education, health, and training. Okay, very good. That's it. Yeah, you're right. At the end of the first column. Okay, and Anna, what does the company do for the environment?
Can you repeat, please?
Sure. In question number 3 on the screen,
Yes.
I'm asking B. What does the company do for B, the environment? What do you remember?
Well, they have done is reduce methane, hydrocarbon.
Right. Those are 2 good points.
Hydrocarbon emissions. So they've made good and better progress.
That's true. And they also provide some financial support, right?
Yes.
So let me ask, who did I not ask yet? And Ishmael, let me ask you about that. In part 3C, what does the company do for the local community? What kind of support does it give? Wait, that's for Ishmael. Wait, that's for Ishmael.
Yes, with local projects.
Wait. Ishmael.
Yes.
Sorry.
What does it do for the local community?
Yes, they are trying to provide skill training for unemployment young people.
Okay, that is one thing. Yeah, that's one thing. What about that picture on the screen? We discovered the reason why we're looking at that picture on the bottom right, the turtle.
Yes, they donate to an environment organization in Bangladesh who care about sea turtle.
Right, a conservation organization, turtle conservation.
Turtle conservation organization.
That's it, the one in Bangladesh. That's it. Okay, so it sounds like all of you are following the audio pretty well. Last question, this is your opinion now. João, do you think the company is doing enough based on the interview that you heard?
I think no.
Well, okay, that's a fair point. Why is that? Why do you think it could be doing more?
I think the enterprises related with oil and gas, they are very pollutant to the environment.
They are very. I can't hear you. They are very what to the environment?
Pollutant. You produce many pollutants.
They pollute a lot.
Yes.
Pollute. There you go. Okay, got it.
And they need to invest more in R&D, research and investigation to
research and development, R&D, research and development.
Yes, to study other firms to produce their energy and create more companies related with renewable energies, renewables.
Renewables, right?
Yes, and that's my opinion.
Absolutely. So if companies would allocate some resources to R&D, they could begin to shift the businesses away from petroleum and onto renewable sources, without having to go bankrupt. See, the problem is they say, oh, this is our core business. If we stop doing it, we're done. Well, in reality, that may not be true. Maybe it's a question of making less money, but it doesn't mean that you have to collapse. I have a feeling until the oil runs out, we're never going to see the end of the petroleum companies, though.
Yes, it's true.
I want to focus on the vocabulary itself now. So you'll notice a set of words on your screen. Which of these nouns from the audio do you associate with an unethical company versus an ethical company? So I'm going to say a noun. You tell me as a class whether it's ethical or unethical. So in other words, we're going to categorize the vocabulary. Okay? Oh my God, what was that? That was very loud. So first of all, bribery.
This is unethical.
Of course. Ethics.
Ethical.
Of course. Ethics, ethical. Deception.
Unethical.
Unethical. Right? So it's not so difficult. Responsibility.
Ethical.
Ethical. Fairness.
Ethical.
Generosity.
Ethical.
Values.
Ethical.
Yeah, maybe both though. Could be both. You could have negative values too, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah, could be both. But what?
When we talk about values, generally we talk about positive. What is?
Generally, we do talk about positive values. Okay, fair enough. Corruption.
Unethical.
Of course. Prejudiced.
Unethical.
Unethical. Credibility.
Ethical.
Both.
Both, but more unethical. Because if we're talking about credibility, that means we're questioning whether or not we believe a company. So it's both, like values, but probably more in the context of unethical behavior. Okay? Greed and discrimination, obviously.
Unethical.
Unethical, obviously. What you've got to do is change the noun into an adjective. Deception, Anna. What's the adjective?
Deceptive.
Very good. T-I-V-E. Deception, deceptive. I'm not going to write these. It's going to take too long. We'll just do it orally. Responsibility, Antonio.
Responsible.
Responsible, I-B-L-E. Fairness, Daniel.
No idea.
What's the adjective? You have to put the verb to be first. It is fairness? No. It is fair. Just fair. Is that clear?
Fair.
Fair and unfair. Is that clear, Daniel?
Yes.
So when you're not sure about the adjective form, say the word after the verb to be and see how it sounds. So if you say it is fairness, it doesn't sound right. Probably it won't sound right to you. So you'll get the answer quicker that way. It helps you guess a little bit easier. You can see what sounds right to your ear. João, generosity.
Generous.
Generous. Ishmael, credibility.
Credibility. Credible.
Credible. Very good. Credible. Yuki, ethics.
Ethical.
Ethical. Anna, corruption.
Corrupt.
Corrupt. Spelled with a T. C-O-R-R-U-P-T. Corrupt. That's right. Prejudice, Antonio.
This is difficult. Prejudiciable.
Prejudiciable. Sounds like a good guess. Try again. Not prejudiciable doesn't exist. This new law is prejudiciable? No. This new law is
Prejudice.
Prejudice. What's the ending we need? What's the ending?
Prejudiced.
Okay, how do you, what's the ending? Tell me,
ED.
spell it. ED is right. So, Antonio,
Okay.
Ishmael's right, and the pronunciation is prejudiced.
Prejudiced.
Right. It's pronounced
me-
with a T, but it's spelled with ED.
Yes, ED.
ED, prejudiced. Antonio, what about greed? Sorry, I said Antonio. I meant Daniel next. Daniel, what about greed?
I don't know. Greedy.
Greedy is right.
Yeah?
Yep. Spelled with what letter? What letter do we add to the stem greed?
Why?
Y, absolutely. G-R-E-E-D-Y. Okay?
Okay.
And we're on to João. Discrimination.
Discriminator.
I can't hear you. Say again.
Discriminator.
Discriminator. You're missing a letter. You're missing the final letter of the word. Because remember, discriminator would be a noun. It's a person who discriminates. We need the adjective which describes the situation. Want to try again?
This.
In Portuguese, all you have to do is drop the O, and then you've got the English. Take off the O in discriminatorio, take off the O, and you've got it in English.
Discriminating.
That's not the one I'm looking for, though. So if you have a Latin language, like Spanish or Portuguese, correct me if I'm wrong, you would say discriminatorio, right?
It would be discriminating.
No.
No.
No, just take off the final O at the end. Take it off, and what do you have?
Oh, I don't know.
Discriminatory.
Discriminate.
Discriminatory. Is that clear? Discriminatory. So look in the chat window. Yeah, Yuki wrote it as well. So what I'm telling you is, if you take your Spanish, Portuguese, Italian word, and you write discriminatory
policy.
Yeah, if you take discriminatorio and you drop the O, you've got ori. So Oreo becomes ori in English. Discriminatorio, discriminatory. I'm just saying because that's a cognate between a Latin language and English. Just like if I say possible, right? It becomes possible. Or possible becomes possible. It's still the same word, but the ending changes slightly between French and English, or Italian and English, or Spanish and English. Right?
Okay.
Is discriminative okay? That's a good question. It was a discriminative law. Doesn't sound good to me, Yuki. Discriminative. It doesn't sound that good to me. So I would say it's not that it's wrong, it's just that it's not as frequently used, so we'd have to find a much more specific context. Discriminative. I can't think of any context at the moment, so I would say no. Stay away from discriminative, but discriminatory is a pretty good one. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop here. I'm going to give you some homework to get you to practice both sets of words, and we're going to have another class tomorrow. I don't normally do the class on Friday, but I'm going to have an extra class tomorrow where we take all this vocabulary and we use it to talk about companies that are presented to us here, and then we branch out into some examples from our own country. You're going to give a little report, a very short report, like 30-second report on a company that you know about. But we're going to start by giving you a model, because I'm going to give you some details on the screen for us to talk about as a class. Then I'm going to ask you to talk about one that you know about and present it to the class. So it'll be a full speaking class, we'll do that. And I don't know, if we have time, we'll move on to the next section as well, which is all about key expressions. I don't have it in front of me. I don't have the unit in front of me, but it's always the one about key phrases, where we take a practical skill, we listen to it, we break it down into parts, and we look at the key expressions, and then we use it to do a similar skill of our own. So we might get started with the key expressions section as well. Okay, I've got to stop. I'll send you the homework in a few minutes. Okay? Good participation. Very good, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow for 2 hours. I'll be back in 1 hour for the phrasal verb Grammar Garage workshop. Stick around for that in an hour from now. Bye for now, everyone.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.